All right, this has to be definitely the most premature I've ever had any prediction, but I think Calvin is already the player of the year. Sorry about the commentary. I recorded this with soundproof headphones, and I definitely realized that I was screaming. So apologies if you need to turn down the volume. Okay, so first off, let's be pretty blunt here. There is nobody even in contention with Calvin at the moment. He has a first place at first place at LVC, third place at Waco, third place at Austin, and then first place at Texas State's. So obviously Texas State's is a silver series, doesn't have the same weight as an elite series or a major, but if your worst place finish is third place, then you're kind of entering that Kristen territory where you're already in GOAT status. So I think it is pretty easy to say that Calvin is the top pick, and it really isn't even that close. So looking at tour standings based upon the DGPT standings, Kyle currently is in second place, Ezra in third, and then Paul in fourth. But Kyle is trailing Calvin by 70 points. And again, that's just for tour ranking. So obviously just looking at the raw standings, he has a great position, but I think much more than that, looking at his whole entire game, there's just so much depth and so much ingenuity in all of his shots. He's got that dead straight 450 to even 550 now line drive shot that comes in handy with so many different holes. And as somebody that has actually seen him play live, his hyzer shots, whether that be backhand or forehand, look so effortless, but they get him at least 450 without any real effort. So having that ability to have crazy good up shots that are so consistent because you can throw over stable, throw in a straight hyzer, and you just know it's going to come at the exact point that you want, gives him so much flexibility in his shot shaping. But then you add to that his insane circle 2 putting, which is elite levels that I'm sure he cannot sustain, but at the moment it is ridiculous. And currently his circle 2 putting sits at 38%. So basically it is a given that in any round he'll be making at least one, probably two circle 2 putts. And the only player that has anywhere close to that would be Paul. And Paul definitely has the potential to take down player of the year, but I think it just really isn't looking that great for him at the moment. He just doesn't look completely dialed in and focused like you need to be to play a full season where you're taking down event after event. And especially with him playing the European events, I just don't think it is very likely that he'll get that many tour points and won't take home that many wins later on in the season. So if it's not Ricky, if it's not Paul, it's definitely not Dickerson. And Eagles seem to be a little bit out of commission at the moment. It really looks like it's just a one-horse race. I think Calvin will easily take it down if he can just hold on strong. And if you compare his current play style to previous years, it really was just final round that he would crumble. This happened in 2021 Worlds, this happened a little bit in 2022 Worlds, and just all the majors, where he really needs to just putt his consistent putting strategy and not get too stressed out. And that seems to be what's happening in spades in 2023. I think a major component of that, getting LVC knocked out. He's already appeased his Innova sponsorship. He has done what he needs to do. So now the rest of the year is just gravy. And with a player like Calvin that's already so dialed in, having that mental aspect not be a huge component of your fear creates what I believe to be the most deadly player in current history. Because if you think about it, in recent years, when Paul and Ricky were winning, who was that third place? It was usually Eagle or Calvin. And now that Calvin is really stepping it up and the other major players are falling off a little bit, it is just so clear to me that Calvin will continue to destroy the competition. I definitely see some events where Calvin won't have it all together and he might get maybe worse than top 10, but even that is still a perfectly acceptable finish. And I certainly see that the situation for me, at least when I'm watching coverage, is basically last year's FPO coverage, which was basically, can anybody beat Kristen? And now whenever I watch an event, I'm going to think, hey, can anybody beat Calvin? Obviously, the degree of parity is a little bit different. There are so many MPO players that have the potential to take down any event, so it's not quite comparable. But I definitely see that in my head when I'm watching live coverage. So that's enough about going off about Calvin. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any other contenders that you would potentially think could take down Player of the Year. Obviously, we still have so many unknowns about Ricky. So him being the Player of the Year last year, you might definitely put him in that spot, but he hasn't really given us any reason that he would fit that category. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Wild Runs, signing out. Peace.